Okay, girls, now I hope so these terms growth, development, and maturation will be clear to you by now. Now, if you read and if you go to page number 3 of your book and read the last para, then the concept of growth and development will be very clear to you. Fine, do read this paragraph, and it will also tell you the effect of learning that is very important with respect to development, not with respect to growth, but with respect to development. The environment, the role of environment is very important with respect to development. So do read that paragraph. Although you must read every topic on the daily basis, whatever we study on that particular day, do read that, give it a little reading, so that if you have any confusion related to meaning, related to the concept, you may ask later on. And I have also told you that you can use any medium or any forum of asking question, either your WhatsApp group or within your portal there is an option of comments. You can use that as well. Now the next topic is principles of growth and development. There are various principles with respect to growth and development. The very first one is people develop at different rates. Now, although the process is same, the bodily organs are same, but the rate of development is different. As you might see that there are individual differences and there are children differences with respect to their age of walking, age of crawling, talking, all these things. So although the normal age of walking, if we talk about the normal age, that is 1 year, I think so, but there are few children who may walk at the age of 9 months. There are children who may walk at the age of 1 year, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. Fine. So this rate of development is different with respect to different individuals. Now there is one more thing which is known as developmental milestones. Now you people are going to search about this term, developmental milestones, and then we will talk about this first principle. You are going to tell me your answers. As I have told you, use any forum. Now what is meant by developmental milestone? Then we will going to discuss this first principle again. Okay. Now development is relatively orderly. There is an order in the development. First one aspect of that organ grows, then another aspect, then another aspect, then the whole organ. Fine. First the child shows the reflex of grasping and holding, and then there is orderly development of holding or grasping other objects tightly. Fine. Then they are able to write something with their hand. Then they are able to throw a ball or such like. So it is an orderly process. As you see that at once when you are born, then you do not attain all of your height at once. Fine. So it is the orderly process. And the next principle is very much related with the previous one, that developmental process is gradual and usual. It is a gradual process. It is occurring slowly and gradually. Fine. There is a change in the capability, in the functionality of your bodily organs, but that is a gradual change. That is a slow and orderly change. First you acquire one thing and then you move toward the another thing. It doesn't happen that haphazardly from one stage of life you enter to the another stage. Then it is a continuous process. As we have discussed this thing, that development is a continuous process. Now this process is characterized by integration and difference. So here what do we mean by this thing? That we come to know that these things are similar to one another, these things are different from one another. So according to the similarities and differences, we organize the things, we integrate the things. You see, if you know the concept of schema. Schema basically is your awareness, is your awareness of the world that is in your brain, in your mind. Okay, that is schema. So your schema develops because of this integration and differences. According to similarities, you group objects. According to differences, you separate objects. Fine. So due to developmental process, we come to know that these two aspects are similar. Because we have acquired knowledge related to them, and these are different from one another. Now, developmental process occurs rapidly during infancy. Very rapidly it occurs during infancy. And another stage is adolescence, specifically the internal structures, no doubt external structures also. Both, they increase rapidly during adolescence as well. But the whole of the developmental process and growth, it is very rapid, actively taking place, quickly taking place during infancy. If you see infants, then you can very easily find differences with respect to their height and weight. But usually when you move to the adolescence or adulthood stage of life, then there are no marked as such differences. Fine. Now the number of chromosomes is fixed in every species. This is clear to you that all the species, they have fixed number of chromosomes, which is the natural gift to them. And if there is any change in that fixed number, then there is an abnormality, as you might have studied in your Fbise, that there are so many chromosomal abnormalities due to the extra number of chromosomes. So all aspects of development are interrelated. Now, first of all, you should know that what are the aspects of development. I'll tell you this thing later on as well, but here, because this term has come, so you should be knowing that what are the aspects of development. Now, development has different aspects. There is psychological development, there is physiological development, there is cognitive development, social development. Fine. So these are known as aspects of development. Now all these aspects of development are interrelated. We can't say that physiological development has nothing to do with the psychological development, or psychological development has nothing to do with the social development. No, all these are interrelated. You see, if there is an abnormality, for example, in the psychological functioning of a child or an individual, then that abnormality is observable in other aspects of development as well, in the social aspect, in the physiological aspect. Fine. So all these aspects of development are interrelated. Now, achievement motive is very important with respect to developmental psychology. There are so many other motives that are important, and these motives you have studied in first year. Achievement motive, affiliation motive. Fine. So achievement motive is very it is very prominent during developmental process. As soon as the child grows, you see, the child wants to be independent, doing things on their own. They have the curiosity of knowing the world or the events around them. So all this is the example of achievement motive, which is very, very prominent and very important aspect of developmental psychology. Now, development results from interaction of heredity and environment. We can't deny this thing, that both are equally important. If there is heredity, then, as I told you, that the process of development continues because of environment. So environment is also playing its role. So it's mixture of these two. Both are very important. Both are equally important. Development is oriented progress. Now, oriented progress means the progress of the whole society. Now, if one or single individual progresses, it means that the whole society will progress. Fine. So the development of a single individual matters a lot, because that single individual is definitely going to intervene in the society in any way. So if the developmental process is in a very positive way, it is going in a soothing way, then the progress or the individual's role in the society will be very good. Psychological vitamins affect development. Now, whenever a child is born, then there are three things that are usually, we can say, triple S, which are the innate requirement of an individual. First is survival, second is security, and the third is sex. So these are the psychological vitamins. Fine. Every individual wants survival. How that individual is going to survive? By fulfilling the biological needs, need of hunger, need of thirst. Fine. So every individual needs security, shelter, home, and then every individual also needs to develop the family, to develop the species. Fine. So these are the psychological vitamins which affect development. If these vitamins are fulfilling in the proper way, then it is going to affect the process of development. If any one aspect from these vitamins is missing or not getting fulfilled in the desirable manner, then this is going to affect the developmental process. The little child, if not receiving sufficient food, definitely the developmental process will delay, and the other aspects of this psychological vitamins, security and sex, are going to suffer. All stages of development are important. Now, previously we read about that all aspects of development, and I told you what is meant by aspects of development. Aspects of development: physiological, cognitive, psychological, social. These are aspects. Now, stages or phases of development. These are your infancy, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, old age. Fine. These are stages or phases of development. Now, all stages or phases of development are important. We can't say that as development is very quick in childhood, so that stage is very important, and adolescence is not important. No, there is a change, physiological change, very rapid physiological change in adolescence as well. So that stage is equally important. Your adulthood is very important. Old age, where the process of growth has completely stopped. No doubt, the process of development continues, but there is no growth. Rather, there is decline in everything. Decline in your hair growth, decline. There is the appearance of wrinkles in your bodily strength. There is decline, but still that stage is very important. So all stages of development are equally important. Expectations at every stage are different. Now, whatever tasks you perform in any stage, they are different. Definitely, in childhood, you are unable to perform the tasks of the stage of adolescence. Similarly, at the age of adulthood, you can't perform the tasks of the adolescence. So, whatever tasks you can perform, they differ with respect to different stages. Now, methods of satisfaction are different at every different developmental stage. Your own level of satisfaction, it differs with respect to different stages of development. The needs fulfillment is different with respect to different stages. Now, how you get satisfied in your infancy, you may not be satisfied in your adulthood. Fine. So this satisfaction level, and the nature of satisfaction, it differs in different developmental stages. Then the acquisition of self-image. With growth and development, we acquire our self-image. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, students, Assalamu alaikum. So, in the previous lecture, we studied about the nature and definition of growth and a little bit about developmental psychology. Now, coming to the remaining topics, side by side growth, there is another important term which is known as development. Now, development also means to grow. Just like growth also means to grow, that is a natural process. So development also means to grow. But usually we take these two terms as synonyms, development and growth. But there is a difference. Later on I will tell you why do we take them as synonyms and what are the differences between these two terms. But the main meaning of growth and development are same. Both means to grow. Now it also includes all the changes that are related to growth. Now you might be remembering what are the changes. Changes in height, changes in weight, changes in your strength, in your muscular activity. Now all these changes are related to growth as well. But if you look at the third point of this slide, that this process brings about changes from beginning to death, is called development. So growth is not a continuous process. Growth is not a lifelong process, whereas when we talk about development, then development is a lifelong process. Our height stops increasing, our weight stops increasing, but the process of development, it continues. There is no stop in the process of development. So why do we take these two terms as synonyms? As I told you that growth and development are usually taken as synonyms. Now why do we take them as synonyms? The very first thing is change. Both growth and development, they cause or they bring about change in the individual's organs. Growth and development, both. There is a gradual, there is a continuous change in the body organs. Capability. Both of these terms, they increase the capability of the individual. Due to growth and development, the capability of the individual grows. Definitely your capability during infancy, then during early childhood, then the childhood, then adolescence. There is a lot of difference in your capability. Functions. Now, due to growth and development, individual is able to perform various functions. Now you see, there are so many activities that require coordinated activity of all of your bodily organs. So they both increase functionality of your body. Then organization. Now mostly when we develop or grow as an adult individual, then all of our bodily actions are organized and integrated activity of different bodily functions. You are thinking, this is one function, and you are doing some other task as well, this is another function. You are thinking, you are doing another task as well, and you are responding to someone else, this is another function. So all these activities are organized due to growth and development. So why these two terms are taken as synonym? It's because of that they bring change, they make us more capable, both of these terms. They enable us to perform various functions, and all these functions are coordinated due to growth and development. Now, but as I told you that these two terms are different from one another. Now, what is the difference between these two terms? Now, as you can see that both these terms are written in these slides, and the differences are also mentioned. So whenever you are asked in the examination to attempt a question like this, where you have to point out the differences, so do it in this manner, like draw a line and then write down the differences of whatever is asked from you in the examination. Now, the very first point is that growth means increase in size of an object. Increase, there is an increase in the size. It can be your height, it can be your weight, it can be your hair length, it can be your visual acuity, it can be your muscular strength. Fine. So growth, basically it means that there is an increase in the size of an object, whereas development mainly means an improvement in the level of functioning. Development also means there is increase, but the main meaning of development is that the functioning, the capability should be improved. It means an improvement in the level of functioning. So when the child is able to grow, for example, when the child is able to stand at the age of, let's assume, 1 year. Now there is increase in the height of the child, in the muscular strength of the child, but is the child capable of walking? Is the child capable of standing? Or is the child capable of, if we go back this 1 year, then is the child capable of crawling? So this improvement in the level of functioning basically is meant by development, and it is dependent upon growth. Once you grow, then there will be improvement in the level of functioning. It does not mean that development will occur alone. No, both are interdependent. Same is the case with your mental maturity. With the passage of time, you become mature. Your other bodily organs grow. There is change in the internal structures of your body, which basically increases your mental capability. That improvement in the mental capability is your development. So many times we see that children, they grow in their bodily organs, but they do not develop. They do not acquire that level of functioning. So is it clear? Then the second difference is that growth is the process of becoming larger or longer. You see, we grow till a specific age. There is a change, rapid change sometimes in our organs till a specific age, and which brings about mainly an increase in the growth. Whereas development is the process of gradual transformation. We grow, then due to this growth, we change from one stage of development to the other stage of development. We grow from the newborn, we become an infant. That change, transformation from newborn to infancy is development. Then we further grow and we become a little boy or girl. Again, there is a gradual transformation, which is because of development. Then we also grow and we go to the stage of adolescence again. So this is development. Only growth does not mean that we have transformed from one stage to another stage, or we have changed from one stage or another stage. It's because of development. Fine. Then the third thing is growth is a quantitative measure. As I told you in the previous lecture as well, that growth is basically quantitative in nature. It can be measured. Fine. Whereas development is a qualitative measure. To whatever length we have acquired in terms of height, fine, or whatever muscular strength we have acquired in terms of growth, whether our muscles are able to perform any particular task, this is the qualitative measure, which is development. We have become grown up adult, there is growth. Now, are we mentally capable to solve our daily life problems? This is qualitative measure, which is development. Okay. Now, growth is one of the aspects of developmental psychology, whereas development is a very wider term. Developmental psychology is a very comprehensive, a very wider term, and growth is only one aspect of this developmental psychology. Next difference is that growth does not continue throughout life. As I told you earlier as well, there is growth till a specific age. There is age limit for the growth. But development is a continuous process. We stop growing in height, we stop growing in weight, but our mental capability, it keeps on increasing. Our organs related to speech, in the mouth, in the brain, they stop growing, but our process of understanding the speech, of increasing the vocabulary, it grows, it keeps on growing with the passage of time. So development is a continuous process. It starts from the womb and it remains there till the tomb. So it's a never-ending process. It is a continuous process, whereas growth is not a continuous process. Now, hope so these differences are clear to you between growth and development. Fine. So another important thing with respect to growth and development is maturation. Now, maturation basically, again, it is an aspect of developmental psychology. Again, it is a part of growth and development. Fine. So, when we acquire something due to growth, any property, physical or psychological, when we acquire it due to growth, then we see that we have become matured with respect to that particular property. A child, when after completion of certain age in months, when is able to walk, we see that child has matured. Fine. So it is very much like development. Maturation is also very much like development. But maturation is very similar to growth with respect to its being a natural process. Whereas development also includes learning. It also includes the environmental factors that are playing their role in the developmental process. Fine. So maturation is based on growth. That growth is a prerequisite for maturation. Prerequisite means it is the pre-requirement. First, there should be growth, and then you are going to get mature. Fine. Maturation is a process and part of development and growth. It is a process where an individual reaches full functionality. Fine. When you are able to reach your full potentiality, that is maturation. And definitely development also means the same thing. But as I told you, that growth and maturation, they usually mean whatever is inherent in you, inherently whatever you are able or capable to achieve. whereas development includes other factors. Okay, as there is the time specification for the recording, so you might find interruption due to this thing. I am very sorry for that, but what can do what can I do right now, because there is a time limit for the recording of the video. So we were discussing the principles of growth and development. We discussed that the method of satisfaction are different at every developmental stage. A child gets satisfied on the completion of any task, baby with a candy or with a tap and with a pat, but an adult may not get satisfied by these things. So need fulfillment and the satisfaction related to that particular need fulfillment varies with respect to different developmental stages. Now, with growth and development, we acquire our self-image. When we grow, we develop, we perform function, we perform our duties in a well manner, we become a responsible citizen, we become a responsible member of the society, then we acquire. Acquisition means acquire. Then we acquire our self-image. Self-image is what we think of ourselves. What is our perception about our own selves? What is our definition of our own self? This is self-image. So the positive self-image is very important, and it is definitely dependent upon the all these processes of growth and development. They lead to the development of either positive or negative self-image, and it has a lot of effect on our later life. Then there are gender differences. The development and growth, specifically the development, it differs with respect to boys and girls. We might see that usually this developmental process in girls during adolescence is much quicker than boys. And then there are individual differences. As we know, in the very first slide we said that developmental process, it occurs in it occurs in different rates. So all individuals, they develop in different rates. So this is the individual differences. There are individual differences in the developmental process. Some children, they start speaking early, some they start speaking very late. So there are individual differences. Now these all were the principles of growth and development. Fine. So here over this topic of nature, definition of growth and development, it is complete. Fine. We have done the principles as well. We have done the differences between growth and development. We have done the similarities between these terms as well. Our next topic will be, inshallah, aspects of development. Fine. And I have told you in today's lecture that what is meant by aspects of development and what is meant by phases or stages of development. Okay, aspects of development are physical, psychological, social, cognitive, whereas phases or stages of development and growth are your infancy, childhood, adolescence, old age, and adulthood and old age. These are phases or stages of development. Okay, fine. So usually what we do, that we study the aspects of development with respect to different phases or stages. Now I'll complete my lecture over here. If you have any confusion, you are free to ask at any time through any forum. Never hesitate in asking questions. Okay, do read the contents which I have taught to you today from your book. Do answer my question that I have asked you, and if there is any other query, then satisfy your query through asking questions. Okay, Allah Hafiz.